support, subscribe to my channel. Hello and welcome. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the toxic gatekeeper, the man with no plan, the face with no trace, the OGGM with another OGGM adventure, and it is day 7 of RPG A Day 2020, and today's word is couple. 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 Which, of course, to me, brings up the idea of favorite couples in our milieu of the geekdom hobby. Jay and Silent Bob, Bill and Ted, Dave and Chainsaw, Abbott and Costello, Batman and Robin, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Lois Lane and Swamp Thing, and my sandwich. Famous couples and the idea of teamwork and how teamwork is so important for the game. If your party is not working like a team, they are gonna fail. And if your bad guys aren't working like a team, then they will fail. And there was just recently a perfect example of teamwork in the Stargirl TV show on the CW, where we had Sportsmaster and Tigress take on multiple characters who were equal or greater to them in power, but because they had such good teamwork, combat training, united attacks, that they just were able to defeat much more greater foes because of teamwork. Again, you see it with great tag team wrestling, like the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, the Four Horsemen, Degeneration X, Pentagon Junior and Ray Phoenix, FTR. When the two team members are working together in perfect harmony, they can pull off things that a disorganized group, like your typical group of player characters, will not be able to face. And if a good group of player characters has a good set of teamworks and knowing how to work off each other's powers and knowing how to, if this guy can set up the battlefield, then the rogue can get in sneak attack and the wizard will have line of sight without being under attack. And you see great things like that where you see great teams like Batman and Robin or Batman and Superman or Jay and Silent Bob or Green Arrow and Speedy, where it's like, or the Wonder Twins, where he becomes a ladder of ice and becomes a monkey and climbs up the ladder of ice. Those great ideas of couples, of teamwork, working together to succeed, where a disorganized group will fail. And you just don't see enough great examples of teamwork in gaming lately. Mostly it's a lot of individuals who are over after their individual goals and they're not working as a team, and that just slows the game down, makes the game master's job that much harder, and pretty much makes the level of not succeeding that much greater. Because if like this guy's just like, I see the shiny and I'm gonna run over there, and this guy's like, I'm gonna hide and not do anything for a round, and this guy's like, I'm a caster but I'm gonna run in and hit a guy, and this guy's like, well, I got a bow so I'm just gonna shoot one guy even though I know that I can do two more attacks if I do something else. Fourth edition D&D had a lot of great stuff about teamwork and the abilities to move people and organize the battlefield. And, if this guy did his ability and this would keyword off to this guy's ability and they could work together. There's not a lot of that in fifth edition, but there definitely are spells and abilities and ways that if two or more individuals are working together as a team, the game will move that much quicker. The DM will have to be doing less work because the player characters are working together like a well-oiled machine, and the bad guys will not be able to stand against the teamwork and the organized plans of the players. On the opposite side, if the DM takes the time to come up with, teamwork and ideas and how you could have symbiotic relationships with two or more monsters, and the player characters aren't prepared for that, then they will quickly find themselves falling victim to the organized teamwork of the two or three monsters. And there's lots of great examples of how to create symbiotic relationships with monsters, like a rust monster and a troll. You know, that's a great combination because the Rust Monster eats the metal of the warriors, and then the troll can just bash away at, you know, the fighters once the Rust Monster has eaten their armor. Another great one is, you know, goblins and goblin dogs. The goblins use the goblin dogs to separate party members and trip and impede party members and get in between party members, where the much smaller and quicker goblins are used to fighting around the goblin dogs and fighting with the goblin dogs and using the goblin dogs. So while the goblin dogs are separating the party and tripping party members, the goblins can focus on what they think is the greatest threat. You know, and that's another great idea of a symbiotic relationship between two monsters. And there's so many other great ideas for symbiotic relationships between monsters or bad guys, where one bad guy compensates for the other bad guy's weakness. Like a troll is weak to fire. So if a troll could team up with something that provides a protection from fire, like, I don't know, an ice elemental or something, or an ice mephit, then its weakness to fire is negated by the ice mephit. You know, if a weak spell casting creature like a pixie creates a teamwork symbiotic relationship with something that can protect it with, you know, something larger and more powerful, like a tree ant or something, then the two become an amazing Batman and Robin duo, using each other's strengths and compensating for each other's weaknesses. And I would really love to see more example of that with characters where players are working together, where the wizard is compensating the rogue, and the rogue is compensating the warrior, and the warrior is compensating the wizard, and the wizard is compensating the rogue, and the priest is buffing this guy and buffing this guy and helping to control the battlefield, and the priest and the wizard work together to control the battlefield, so the rogue and the warrior can start separating opponents from each other, focusing on the opponent's weaknesses, and the DM has to do less work because the players are working together to create teamwork and organized battle, and the battle goes a lot faster, and you don't have that one idiot who's just complaining because that character's got a +1 axe and he doesn't have a +1. So instead of doing something to move the party along and be proactive, he's just sitting around and insulting everybody. And then he goes running off down the hallway because he sees something shiny, and that just provokes an attack with 23 giant bats and whatever. So the party works together and understands, okay, you need range and you don't have range, so let's get you range, and you need better armor, so let's work on protecting you. You need to stop running into combat while we get better armor for you. Then the bad guys aren't prepared for that. Then that teamwork, that coupling, that symbiotic relationship would be amazing. So here's things to think about, DMs, for today. Couple. What are some symbiotic relationships for monsters you could create to make your monsters that much more devastating? And the perfect example is Troll. I'm vulnerable to fire. If I create a symbiotic team couple with something that protects me from fire, and I return provide it with something it needs, like physical protection from my strength, then there's a great symbiotic team, and they can couple together and they can create a team. And that's a perfect example of things DMs should start thinking about to get more clever and more insidious. And players, I would love to see more players coupling together, creating teamwork, creating situations, that symbiotic relationship where this guy compensates for this girl's weakness and this girl compensates for that guy's weakness, instead of them fighting over each other because she's got a +1 shoelace and he wants the +1 shoelace, and that guy's just too busy texting to pay attention to what's going on in the game. So really, I would love to see players starting to develop teamwork in the current venue of the game, and I would love to see DMs throw some teamwork encounters against the players using the way monsters could compensate for each other. If you have any examples of how you've created teamwork, couple, symbiotic relationships between monsters, post them down below. Or if you've had any examples of how characters have worked together to create a team, post it down below. Until then, please take a moment to subscribe to my vlog to help me hit 500 subs by January 1st, 2020. If you don't subscribe, you can't complain. I'll talk to you losers later.